Welcome to Venice Beach, California.
I am on my way to Gold's Gym in Venice. And right here on the right hand side, you see the golf course. It's right here on Rose Avenue, going towards the beach. It seems like my last 3 videos did pretty good and people want to see all the homeless encampments in Venice and around Los Angeles. And that's why I decided to go and interview another person. Even though a lot of people think I'm not good in doing interviews, I have to agree, I've never done it before, but I'm just doing it. I find it really interesting to talk to people. It doesn't have to be a homeless person. I would love to interview rich, famous people just to know how they're feeling and what it is like to live their life. It looks like they're cleaning up the place here a little bit. They're putting a lot of stuff in the dumpster truck right here. People write me, instead of doing those videos, you should help those people, start somewhere. I do my fair share of helping homeless people, but I can't help everybody. Now I'm turning right behind the famous Gold's Gym, the mecca of bodybuilding. This is how it looks behind the gym. The gym is closed right now because of the pandemic. And I think they claimed also bankruptcy, but a German guy who owns all the McFit studios in Germany actually bought Gold's Gym, I think. It's pretty sad to see all this here on the streets. But the city tried to provide toilets and washrooms so at least they can wash up and have a place where they can go to the restroom. Right 1 block from Gold's Gym, Mike Bonin, the city council member, opened up a homeless shelter for 154 people. And there's still not enough space for all those homeless people to fit in a shelter.
This is absolutely incredible and fantastic. This is the Gold's Gym where Arnold Schwarzenegger used to work out before the pandemic every single day. But now because of the pandemic, it's closed down. And one German guy who owns all the McFit in Germany, he actually bought Gold's Gym. But that's not what I'm here for today. We're gonna do a nice interview. Stay tuned. And I'm here to pump you up. I used to work out at Gold's for years. I know, even though I don't look like it anymore, but believe me, there's a lot of stars coming into this place. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Madonna, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the celebrities in bodybuilding that work out here. This is the mecca of bodybuilding.
We're here for the guy right here. His name is Frank. And that's Frank right here. How you doing, Frank?
Good, Dave. How you doing?
I'm actually Mike, not Dave.
Mike?
Yeah.
All right.
So before we start, I just want to make sure, is that okay to film you and put you on YouTube?
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yes, it is.
All right, man. So, how long you been homeless here in Venice?
Here in Venice, I came in Venice in '09, in November of '09. I had already been in California for over a year.
And how old are you now?
I'll be 69 in 2 weeks.
69? And you've been, how long have you been homeless?
For about 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, just before I came to Venice. I was coming back and forth to the VA hospital from Santa Maria.
Okay.
And when I couldn't go home there, I decided to come where I'd be closer to the VA. Because it was like 12 hours of your day for a 30-minute appointment at the hospital. And that was just to get a prescription.
Okay.
Because I was on the methadone. And they wouldn't let them give it to me right up there in Santa Maria. I'd have to come to LA in order to get that. Came out here for the pot.
You came out here for the pot?
Yeah, for legal medical marijuana. I had been taking opiates from the VA hospital, methadone, Oxycontin, whatever.
Did you have like, do you have cancer or something?
No, chronic pain. I got nerve damage, joints, injuries to just about every joint in my body. I worked manual labor, so I got hurt on the job. I got I was put on disability so many times and told I'll never be able to work, but I always had to go back to work right away.
So you
And I
work.
had a wife and kids to take care of, and I couldn't do that on workers' compensation or whatever they gave you when you got hurt. I had some pretty good accidents working, and a lot of times I wouldn't even report them. I would just keep working,
Okay.
you know, and I wouldn't end up going to the doctors for a couple of days. But,
And I just want to ask you about the shelter. About 2 blocks down, there's a shelter. Mike Bonin.
I know that I was the first to get put on the list to go in there. They came to find me and before it opened and asked if I'd move into the place. And I told them I would move in there. But with the wall that's there for the missing in action and the POWs,
Okay.
it becomes a very spiritual place for me. I can feel the veterans' names that are on the wall. I can feel those vets.
Oh, those are all the ones that
And-
they died in the war, or?
Those are guys that never came home.
Okay.
And they were either a POW or just missing in action.
Okay.
So a missing in action for a parent, that's a nightmare. You could have 30 years, it's 50 years after Vietnam, and you still got people who are wondering where their little boy is, who was just listed as missing.
Yeah.
Not even missing in action, just missing. So that means, well, did he desert? Did he go to the other side, decide to stay in Nam? And that's the kind of things parents have to live with after the war. When it's all settled, papers are signed, you still got people sitting at home saying, well, how come my son ain't coming home? Where's my daughter?
Yeah.
Where's my kids? Not only from the vets, but from the parents. I feel their anxiety, their disgust, or their loneliness. Where are they?
And I want to ask you, they also have that Cadillac hotel that converted it for like a shelter. Did you hear about that? The one right on the boardwalk?
No.
Yeah, they put a lot of people in there because of the COVID situation.
Yeah.
So,
And they put me in a place that was supposed to be for a month, but they said we'll go week to week. But why in the hell would I want to go someplace to spend a month when I can't even have a friend come over and visit?
okay.
You
So
know,
you cannot bring any
with
friends?
This motel, it was you could have 2 visitors. If a third person showed up, you had to ask one of your visitors to leave.
Okay.
So that's like you got, you know, in 10 years, how many people here are now my family? So they knock on the door and I got to say, can't let you in. I'm here for a month, but I can't have you come visit or spend the night with me. And don't think about using the shower because the management wants you to get the hell out of the place.
Okay.
Hi.
And are you pretty good friends with all the people right next to you here?
Yeah, well, I at least respect their privacy and they respect mine.
Okay.
And but yeah, I try my best to get to know the people next to me and be friends with them.
And is there any danger for you? You feel danger here at night?
No.
Not at all?
No. No, the possibility of it is always there. But the same thing if you're in your room and if you're in your own place in LA, Chicago, New
Yeah.
York, Providence, you name the city where nobody has violence come into their home with they don't expect it. It's a way of life, you know. It might be even more so here. But most of the people around an area that would be that kind of problem get thrown out. Other people will tell them, you can't be here, move on.
Okay.
You know, so most people respect each other's space.
And how come you use this space right here, right in front of the Gold's Gym? There's a lot of people on the boardwalk right now.
Yeah, because now they're allowing it.
And do you know why? How come they don't enforce
because
it?
they said because of the virus,
the coronavirus?
Yeah. But it's also, I think, more of a way of showing people that you got to live somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't keep telling you, well, you're homeless, go to the next town. Because the next town's going to tell you go to the next town. So you're either going to hit the ocean or a border where you can't cross over. So what do you do then? Commit suicide? because he's got to turn around and say, well, I've been to all the communities between here and the border and been kicked out of every one of them. So where's left to go? So you end up not being a citizen anymore. You're not welcome in your own country anywhere because you don't carry a house with you. So you can't have an alternate lifestyle. You can't decide you're going to stay somewhere and look for work.
Yeah.
Well, right now there ain't no work to look for, other than what you can find on the boardwalk for a little bit of commission or whatever money they can afford to pay her, because most of the vendors I know out there ain't getting too rich off of it.
And how about SSI? Do you get any help from the government?
I have a disability and I have a veteran's pension.
Okay.
That I live on. My Social Security money, my disability, I haven't collected it in over 4 years. I let it sit there. Because out on the streets, I give it away or party with it. And when I party, I'll have whoever's around me who wants to party too. You're all welcome.
Okay.
And that's what I've done my whole life, though. Might have been in an apartment, in a house, but I was always, I made sure at the end of the day, I'd have a joint.
And do actually people bother you? Like when they drive by, did they say something to you when you're out here, or?
No, I haven't had that happen out here. I did in Santa Barbara, a few young people throwing water balloons or eggs at homeless people. But most of them were young kids who really didn't understand.
Yeah.
Or take the view of a parent, oh, a homeless, they're a bum. They can't get work, they can't do nothing, that's why they're homeless. You know, when I was a young man, you always figured it was because you were drunk. Because the only people you'd see in the wintertime in a doorway were the drunks. And a lot of them just didn't want to go home, even if they had one.
Yeah.
You know, my uncle was always drunk, and he'd say, well, look, I got to go home too. And I think the main thing was he felt bad going home knowing he didn't have what he needed for his wife and kids every day.
How about family? Do you have any family that could help you out, or?
Help me out with what? I'm a senior citizen. I'm going to go crying to family for help. Like I said, I have a pension. I live on what I get, or I hustle up whatever cash I can to get through the month. If I had the whole $1,300 I could get every month, I could live on that all month long. But what kind of life would I have? If I let them put me in an apartment where I'm alone, and have rules of what I can smoke in my own apartment, of who can visit me, who can stay overnight.
Okay.
Well, I'm not living in my own place. I'm living in somebody else's who's telling me what I got to do. And I'd just as soon be on the streets than stuck in an apartment by myself for a month at a time. I'd go out of my mind to be in a neighborhood where you know nobody, and you got to sit looking at 4 empty walls all day long. At least here, if I wake up, I got the sky, I got the sun, I've got stars, clouds. There's something else other than a white wall and a window with a curtain pulled over it.
And a lot of people always ask on my vlog if most of the people, do they come from California, or do they come from all over from different states?
I've met people from all over the world.
All over the world?
All over the world. Come for vacation, and they're sleeping out with me on the boardwalk. A couple from Italy. That was a fantastic couple to sit and talk to. But they were doing the same thing. They were trying to have a vacation on a budget. And that meant they couldn't afford to go into motels or anything else. So they had their blankets and stuff, and they unrolled it and slept right on the boardwalk like anybody else did. And when they left, they went off the road. Native American, to say homeless, you know, I feel like that. This is home. I have from West Coast to East Coast. It's called North America. That's my home.
And
that's my boundaries. I can't cross into Canada without proper identification. I can't get into Mexico without it. And every time you get arrested, they tend to keeping your identification. Or tell you when you get out of jail, you make a special trip back there just to get your identification. And most of the time when I'd get arrested, I wouldn't know how to get back to the Pacific Station. And if I did, I'd sit on a bus and get lost anyway. Because as soon as I'd get on a bus, I'd be having blackouts. And I'd always miss the stop, never know where the hell I was when the bus driver was telling me, last stop, get out.
And do you remember when you became homeless? What was the reason for you to become homeless? Is there any...
My son came up with had his stepdaughter come into my room to ask about dancing, and from there screaming something else, and I had to push her out of my room. And then her mother come in and accused me of hurting her, hitting her, and I told them that's all bullshit. But from that, I got a restraining order, went to jail, and then had a judge put 3 more years on the restraining order. He's the one who convinced me to come out here for the medical marijuana.
Okay.
So, and for that, that's the only good thing about it. Because this was better medicine than any of the narcotics I was on. And I was on them for years. In fact, the doctors told me I would die trying to get off of them. They said, the amount of time you've been on the methadone, you wouldn't survive a detox, getting it out of your system. I don't care when. I don't have a wife, I didn't have a family. My youngest son went back east, he died there.
And where are you from originally?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, New York? Is that New York?
No, Rhode Island, the state. Providence,
the state,
Rhode Island.
Okay.
The smallest state in the country.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me, and people, they watch my vlog, they say, oh, I'm looking down to people that I interviewed them. Do I make you in any way feel like I'm talking down to you or judge you?
No, you don't, never would. You know, you just seem like you're asking questions that most people would want to know.
Exactly. A lot of people, they would never have the chance to come here and interview. They would not come and interview here, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying.
And that's what needs to be done. I've been interviewed by several college kids who put out their own things on me with the college. And I've had people from the heads of state from all over the country. If not themselves, I've had family relatives come to talk with me and tell me that they came here for that reason, to talk with me.
Okay.
And I'm glad to have them do that, and I love it every time it does.
What do you think that will be a solution to help you guys? Do you think there's
A solution?
Is there a solution you think that people can help you or other people?
No, not in a situation of an alternate lifestyle. To stop it, you'd have to create jobs in the states that people are living in, so they don't have to leave. I know I've talked to people who come from Indiana out here with just enough for bus fare. And I'd say, what was your plan when you got here? And they said, I don't know, I thought Venice Beach was a good place to be homeless. So I came to Venice Beach to be homeless. And then I got to question your sanity in that move. At least wherever you were, you had some kind of support around you to decide you're going to give it all up and go somewhere where you don't know anybody and you might have to fight for a space in the food line. Yeah, because if you watch any other country where we ship food, what happens when the food arrives? You got to have people with machine guns to keep the rioters from taking it. So it's just a matter of time before that's the same thing here. So each solution has to come from the state itself. I mean, that's not what's happening here, but that's actually what most people would think is the only way to solve the problem, is to push people away.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at them as, it ain't a problem. You both got someplace to lay down and go to sleep. So what the hell would you care if somebody's on the sidewalk? I never let my living conditions decide if I'm going to be happy or not. I mean, the same thing. I always look forward to just going home and being able to spend a couple hours with my wife and kids where I was comfortable. And with that, I always needed the pot. Without the pot of the pain and to make me feel a little more relaxed, nothing else, no medicine they gave me ever did it.
Okay.
It never took away the pain. It never made life easier. It just gave you something else you had to depend on.
All right, thanks, Frank. I appreciate it.
All right, Mike.
Take care, man.
Anytime. Glad to do it.
All right.
Well, my friends, that was it from Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, California. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, push the notification bell, and subscribe to my channel. And keep pumping the irons.